Hi there, this is another part 3 of my indoor plants, house plants that I do here. Now here I have got this particular one called Asplenium belviferum, which is a hen and chicken plant, and the name itself suggests why it's called hen and chicken. Because we've got this hen, which is the mother fern, and we've got little chicks. So that's why it's called hen and chicken fern. And I've got a big one here, and this particular one has been in this pot for nearly 4 years, and it is doing very, very well indeed, with its lovely sphagnum moss with a lot of peat soil in it, and for a good drainage. And I have also put a bit of perlite. Perlite generally keeps the moisture inside the soil for the plants, and when they need it, that's when they utilize the perlite. And it's also, I use the what you call the coir of the coconut husk. So that is also quite beneficial when you're planting your ferns, that you do utilize all sorts of soils for good health of your ferns. And I try to, I guess you would say, practice the soil, the technique, trial and error. What works for me mightn't work for you. It's all to do with your environment, your location, your temperature. These are some of the things that you've got to consider when planting ferns. I have heaps of ferns here, and each individual would require its own level of balancing that soil in the when it comes to planting. And not every fern likes its roots saturated or moist. It depends what kind of fern they are, because as you probably know, when you go out camping, tramping, you would see that some of the ferns are out in the heat of the day, out in the sun, without any moisture, and they are thriving. So there is a bit of a differentiation between the type of fern you are going to plant and the type of ferns perhaps in its own environment out there in the wild. And the types that I've got here in my atrium is generally the ones who love the moisture, because that's the one that's going to survive here because of the amount of moisture I have in this particular atrium. So that's one of the ferns, chicken and hen. And then we come to this beautiful, we sometimes call it a false violet flower plant, or you could call it, it's got a proper scientific name by Streptocarpella sexorum. And yeah, as I said, it's a false African violet, and or you could also call it by, a lot of people call it a nodding violet because of its color. And why it's nodding, I guess when wind blows, it just nods, as you can see. And it's doing really well here. And then I've got this particular fern here with quite a long frond. And this particular fern is has got its scientific name, which is Necrolepsis cordifolia, and its common name is tuber leather fern. Why it's called leather? Because it just grows with this rooting system here, and it just tags itself in any soil and starts taking off small plants. Like you can see it over here. The same plant has actually come up to here and is fronding over here, and it's from its little root system that it digs into the soil and comes up into nice little plants again. So in time I should have a lot that will cover that particular area nicely. And this particular leaf is the leaf of alocasia, which we actually use it in cooking. And it's edible, so you can actually eat most of this plant, except the stem perhaps, Stem, you perhaps cannot use it because I've never used the stem. I've always used the leaves to roll in Indian cookery, and I have also used the roots that we islanders love eating. We boil it or fry it, and we eat the roots as well. So it's an edible plant that I really like it here. It gives me a few plants for my Indian cookery. From there, I've got this also, the wax begonia, tuberous begonia plant here with this apricot flower, which is flowering really beautifully here. And this particular plant, which I've got heaps of, it seems to be loving the condition here. And some of them are just, as you can see, it's grown as far as the water, and it's sunken its stems, root system into the water as well, and it literally has taken over. That really needs a controlling. So I shall get my secateurs and trim some of these branches off to keep it down. And this particular plant is, it has got a name called Nicoplectoranthus. Nicoplectoranthus, and short form is Nico. So that's the Nikos that is doing really, really well in there in this environment. As you can see, it doesn't see much sun, and it's thriving. This particular fern looks like it's self-grown. It just shows that I don't have to plant ferns here either. It just loves growing by itself, and you can see the little seedling seeds here that drops, the little pores, and then it just grows by itself because the environment here just suits all types of ferns. And here we come to the aluminium plants. Why it's called aluminium? Because of its shiny, beautiful leaves that you can see, and it's about 8 to 10 centimeter in length and about 5 to 6 centimeter in wide. So leaves are actually quite big comparison what you can buy from a nursery. Then we come to, well, I would start off making the fourth video because I haven't quite finished, and we'll look at some of the anthurium in part 4 of my video. Bye for now.